What you're looking for, because they look like stars, but planets don't twinkle. You know that song, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star? Planets don't twinkle, twinkle. Alright, they're solid light, so because they're much closer, the light shines and it doesn't get disturbed in the atmosphere, so it's very clear. There's only 5 planets we can see with our eyes without help from a telescope, and that's Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Mars, and Jupiter. None of which we can see tonight except for Venus. Okay, so, but you can see most of them in the morning if you want to wake your parents up at 5 a.m. Okay?
Don't even think about
Venus is probably the easiest one to see because it is the brightest. It's the 3rd brightest object in the sky after the sun and the moon is Venus. You can't miss Venus, and usually when we see the first star in the night, it's usually Venus, it's not a star. Okay. Mars is really easy to see because it's red. It's got all that iron oxide rust that makes it that red color. If you look at a star or a planet and you want to know its color, the best thing to do is not to look at it. Kind of weird. You look to the side of it and use your peripheral vision. It's more sensitive to color. You can actually see the color better. Alright, so. Alright, so the question is, do you want to be the first to go to Mars? Yeah! Alright, here we go. So you probably want to know what you're getting yourself into. So let's see what we got here. Okay, if you go, what would you experience? This is a real image from the Curiosity rover. That's Mars. And it would be just amazing to sit there in your spacesuit looking at the vast expanse. No grass, no insects, no birds, no life. And because the atmosphere is so thin, very little sound either. You would hear your breathing and your heartbeat in your suit as you're looking out of that vast expanse. It would be really inspiring and at the same time very scary. Okay, so like I said, that's a real photo from Curiosity. Now, you would also experience that the days are about the same length. The Earth takes 24 hours to rotate, that's one day. Mars is 24 hours, 40 minutes, which they call a sol, so one revolution. So it's about the same. But the bad news is, or good news, depending on how you look at it, because it takes almost twice as long to go around the sun, the seasons are twice as long. So you thought this winter was bad. Double it. Okay, and the summers are twice as long too. Okay, you would have spectacular views of a canyon that I would love to see. Now this is the Grand Canyon. To give you scale, the Grand Canyon, the Valles Marineris would be 4 times longer. It would be 20 times wider and 4.5 times deeper. So the deepest part of Valles Marineris is about 27,000 feet. That's a canyon. All right, and the scientists think that it's caused when the Earth, when Mars cooled from its molten stage and made that crack, but we still don't really know exactly why. But that's a thought. And its name is Marineris, not marinara. That's spaghetti sauce. You gotta make sure you got the eris in the end. Okay. Along with the greatest canyon is one of the tallest volcanoes in our solar system. That thing is huge. It would fit the whole state of Arizona with the crater right about where Phoenix would be. It would be about 4 times taller, well, 3 times taller than Mount Everest. So that would be one heck of a mountain to see. It would be really awe-inspiring. You would experience a very dangerous, thin atmosphere that would be mostly made of carbon dioxide, as opposed to Earth, which is mostly nitrogen and oxygen, which we like to breathe. Okay? Temperatures 86 sounds pretty good. 196 below zero, not so good.
We're next by the water.
So that would be some cold winter, especially, remember it's double time, so long time. One other problem, potentially dangerous radiation, because there's not a very strong magnetic field that protects Mars from the radiation from the sun. So any solar flare, any solar activity where radiation is emitted, you would have to get underground or get into something that would shelter you. So the first people to colonize Mars would probably have to live underground. Are you okay with that? No, you don't want to be underground? Okay. So I'm not selling it to you, in other words. Okay. All right. Global dust storms every 5 years. I mean, that's an amazing shot. I mean, you can't even see the surface for the dust storms, and spectacular lightning storms from it. Okay, so that's something else you have to deal with. And you would experience the confusion of a lot of sources of water, but no water. I mean, look at all the tributaries and all the channels. Fluid did flow once. Where is it now? Is it underground? Did it evaporate completely away? We're still trying to figure that out. This image was just taken not long ago. It's enhanced blue right here, just to show that it is water ice. So anywhere dark blue. But the problem is it's at the poles. So again, if you're going to send humans there, remember that minus 196 degrees, that's where it is. So we're not going to be putting people there, even though the water's there. So if we're going to find water, we're hoping to find it underground or somehow extracted from the soil, and they're still taking tests on that. If you like hopping, who likes hopping? All right, like basketball? Okay, well if you like basketball, if you weigh 100 pounds on Earth, you would only weigh 38 pounds on Mars. So think of how you can jump. So about 2.5 times higher and farther. So that would be spectacular basketball. You can do some slam dunks. And Mars has 2 moons, not 1 but 2, although they look like big rocks. And that image was actually taken from Curiosity. It took its camera, pointed up in the sky. It's amazing we can do that. So we have great images of 2 moons of Mars. And Mars, I'm not sure if you know its history of its name, but it's the Roman god of war. So they named the 2 moons the Greek words Phobos, which means panic and fear, and Deimos, which means tremble and dread. So you can imagine they go around war. You've got panic, fear, and dread, and can't remember the other one I just said. Dread and tremble. That's the one. Yeah. So it makes sense, right? Because they're orbiting around war. We've had many missions to Mars, starting in the 1960s. The Russians have not had a lot of success with that. Alright, that's in the orange. But we've had many, many successes after. And every time we go, we learn more and more and more about Mars, so we can get ready to put people on it. We have flybys, we have orbiters, landers, and rovers. We know a lot of information, but we still need to know more. Every question that's answered, 10 more questions pop up. That's the joy of science. You never get all the answers. If we're going to travel long distances, we have to learn what happens to the human body. Now, do you know these guys? Have you ever seen these guys before? Who knows who these guys are? The famous twins. Yes, well done. So the twins, that's Steve Kelly, Mark Kelly. Identical twins tested before and after Steve spent a year in space. Other than the patches and the mustache, what's different? You notice? What's different between them?
One's got a flag on it.
Okay, other than the patches and the mustache, because those are definitely different, they were exactly the same before he went to space. What's different? Ah, yes. You notice that he's a little taller? He wasn't taller before he left. They were the same height. So, spending a year in space, you get taller. Who doesn't want to get taller? Yeah. The problem with that, though, the reason why you're taller is your vertebrae doesn't have the gravity, so it starts to separate. So that could be problematic long term. And eventually his weight or his height will come down. Okay, that was right after the mission. Other problems you have in space, your bone density decreases. You have trouble sleeping because night, day, and stress is very difficult to get sleep. Radiation exposure, not healthy. And one thing I just learned this morning, I didn't even know, your eyeball actually changes shape in the zero gravity. And so it's a little hard, people have to get glasses, it affects their sight. Your heart changes shape because it doesn't have to pump so hard. So that's amazing, I didn't know that. Your muscle fibers decreases, so your muscle mass goes down, and your aerobic activity drops by a quarter. So if you're going to travel in space, it takes 6 months to get to Mars if we're at the closest position. So that's a long time to spend in space to get to Mars. So you'll have to exercise it to figure out a way to keep all those problems from not happening so you can come back. Once you're on Mars, you got to eat. Now, we can bring freeze-dried food there. That's pretty light. So getting there is no problem. But once you're there, we're going to have to raise some food. I hope you're a vegetarian. You're not bringing cows and chickens with you. All right? The only protein is hopefully growing it into a petri dish. Doesn't sound too delicious. All right? So we're going to have plants to grow to sustain food sources while on Mars. Another issue, water. We know it exists on the poles, but it's too cold. Is it underground? We'll see. But right now we don't know. But on the journey, the only water you're drinking over and over and over again because it's all recycled. Okay, we won't say where it's coming from, right? So these guys probably, you just don't think about it. Just drink the water. Alright. So, learning more. The first robotic rover was sent in July 4th of 1997. The first pictures on the surface, beautiful. And we just keep sending. We have 2 more rovers that are going, Observer and Curiosity, and they are long served. They've gone longer than they expected. 14 years so far. So it's been amazing data collected. And okay, here we go. Let's see if we get the internet going a little faster. So a little video. About 4 minutes on the rovers. what's really interesting is Curiosity. A lot of those images you just saw, they're actually programmed by this scientist by the name of Dr. Rebecca Williams, who actually hails from Wanakee. All right, so she is one of many scientists who actually program what the Curiosity rover is going to do every day. And so she came to our school and did a talk. And the thing that my takeaway from what she said is that they were surprised how much sedimentary rock was there. They knew it was a lot, but they didn't realize it'd be over 80% of what they've observed so far. So that was amazing to her. Okay? So all those motions controlled by her on her computer. Kind of amazing. Okay, and this is the probe that's going to be launched on May 15th, or May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. So we want to know what's in the center of the Earth. So seismographs, we'll see if there's any magma that's moving, if there's any plate tectonics, and more importantly, get its temperature, that maybe we could put people under the surface, and also possibly to see if there's any water. So that's the main goal for this particular probe. It said 2 weeks, and it'll take 6 months to get there. And with this, 14 years of the rover program.
Stargazers. Monona Terrace is only happening for 10 more minutes. We will be closing up in about 10 minutes.
Ship. Good done.
All right, that's it. Do you have any questions?